There's girls who I knew was crazy. I could smell crazy on them a million miles away. I still hit it, right? Knowing that she was gonna be crazy. But after I hit it, I did not engage after. A lot of men
activated.
So he ghosted.
No.
Why?
No. Yes.
When I say engage, a lot of men don't know how to do this part, right? Where if they have sex, they don't know how to make sure that that woman understands that it's just sex, and then follow by their actions, right? So they'll say, hey, listen, this is just sex, right? But then she'll text him and he'll respond. Or she'll text him often and he'll communicate and have full-blown conversations with her for 7 days straight. I'm not doing that.
But I think you're lucky to not have had an experience where you ghosted somebody and they ain't come find your ass, right? Because that's something that could send people into a spiral, into a tizzy, right? Like that may not have been your experience, but if you hit the right one who was a little kind of off her rocker and you ghosted her, and in her head y'all was about to get married and she's named y'all kids, she's gonna find your ass and she's gonna make it difficult. I think you're blessed to never have had that experience, but that type of behavior can trigger those types of experiences.
I just, like, the thing is, I'm trying to explain to you in the most professional way in front of cameras that there's nobody that's going to be able to do anything that they want to me. Like, I don't know.
I'm not saying you're not going to retaliate in a worse, crazier way. I'm not negating that. This is what I'm saying.
You're not in control of people's crazy actions.
I'm in control of how long this persists.
No, okay, but I understand that.
How so? How
nothing can.
How you've never had the crazy experience, so maybe to you you're like, oh no, don't worry about it. I'm gonna take care of that shit,
Vanessa,
right?
You think I never? So like, you think that?
I asked you and you said no.
I'm saying you think that girls didn't try to play crazy? I'm saying it got one, maybe two.
I'm not talking about playing crazy. I'm talking about actually.
Yeah, but
actually, like I'm not talking about you playing and maybe you being dramatic because you want attention and it's an attention-seeking thing.
I'll give you an example, right? I'm gonna just use Rome's situation.
Mm-hmm.
A girl comes into my house, right?
Mm-hmm.
Through the window, unwarranted, called for and not communicated.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not fucking her. Not the first time, not the second time, not the third time. I don't care if she did the thing that I like and crawled while she did it. Right? I'm not doing that because I don't play those games. Once you violate my boundaries, there is nothing that you can do to make me be seduced. You know what I'm saying? So what happens is, and I say this often, when a woman or a man, they'll try you. We all try each other's boundaries. And if you budge on your boundaries, you've now given mixed signals. There is no mixed signals. You don't have to guess. You know what I'm saying? I'm not doing it. Like, that's just, I'm not doing it.
So take away her coming through your window and take away and just make it that she's acting super regular with you. You guys are vibing. You guys already had sex. And then she does something crazy. Or
like after sex?
Sure.
Like the same, I'm saying like the same day? Or like later on that week or something?
I feel like
later off that week when you ghosted her.
How they say people show up at, with their representative and that mask on, and like she's vibing with you so much and she's realizing that she can't keep up this whole facade and she's only doing what you like. So then she starts slipping and you see more of her and you're like, yo, she knows that you're not fucking with it. So she starts pulling back, right? And the fact that you're not fucking with it makes her crazy. And now she can't go back to what you like because that's not really her.
Do you feel, and I'm asking this question because I'm being honest, guys. Do you feel like the people who were crazy in your life, whoever it was, do you feel like they ever felt empowered with you?
Absolutely.
That's what never happens with me. I never give them that power to feel like they have the power.
But regardless of whether or not you feel like you're giving them the power to feel that with you, you cannot control someone's actions. You cannot control someone's thoughts. You cannot control how people are triggered by something. Like, you have no control over other people's actions. You can control how you handle it, in that you're like, if this were to happen to me, this is what I'm going to do. But you can't control what somebody else is going to do.
Because how are you gonna control her showing up to your barber?
Well,
to your
the
job,
thing
To
is
your
this,
job.
to your mama house.
that would never.
Right.
First of all, my mom not playing that game either. She going.
I'm not. No, what I'm telling you, like,
what I'm trying to.
there can be repercussions. Like things might happen if this person does that. So I get what you're saying in that if they do that, this is what's going to happen. But what I'm saying is you can't control that may actually happen.
What I'm trying to say is this.
You can't control. You can't
What I'm
stop
trying
the
to say is
start
this.
of the crazy.
Okay, I get it. What I'm saying is this. Crazy doesn't typically go 0 to 100. It's in increments, right? So now, if you're
Not necessarily.
if you're thinking from a man's standpoint, I do think crazy for men goes to a 0 to 100, but with women, it's in increments, right? So when a woman shows that she's crazy or she has acted out of some type of craziness, that was only her level 2. Right? Now, if I enable that or allow that to persist, now it's going to jump to a 7. Then it goes to a 10. At 2, it's stopping. At 2 is done.
So you're not understanding because at 2, that's when she's going to start because she hasn't got a reaction out of you. Because like crazy people want that reaction out of you. Like that's what they thrive
And they don't care about your reaction because they're unstable. So it's just like, oh, okay.
I think.
Babe, I love you.
think
And that's why
you
I
just gotta be
don't
stronger than you're
suggest that-
crazy.
I don't suggest that people ghost when they know that a girl is crazy. Because you said you knew that girl was crazy.
Yeah, but I didn't say ghost. I said I don't engage. So like, if you text me, I'm not gonna have a full blown conversation. I might text you 6 hours later and be like, hey, listen,
But that's still doing the dangling.
No,
Right?
because you cut me off. I might say, hey, listen, I might answer her question and be like, well, you know that this was just sex. I want to make sure that you understand that. So then eventually, like after 2 weeks, it fizzles out, right? And then that's it. I don't dangle them and give them like false hopes. I tell them, I might answer. They might say, how was your day? I will answer at the end of my day. My day was great, and I want to make sure that you remember it was just sex.
So if you ghost a girl, right, and you had no idea that this girl was, unstable in the way that she is because you don't really spend that time with her, right? Like if this is just somebody,
You can see unstable,
right? So
see
no,
unstable.
but people, there are people who are
hidden.
hide it well.
functionally
I was about to say, you don't know at
unstable,
first.
right? Like you don't know, and they may operate in society fine until they're triggered by something specifically that sets them off. You may not know what that thing is if you really don't know this person because you're not spending the time with them, right? So let's just say you hit and you're like, all right, she might be a little off, or I'm not really feeling her, and like you said, you don't engage, right? What if that triggers her abandonment issues, right? Maybe she has abandonment issues and now she's like, oh shit, he's ghosting me, right? Like you don't know what that could trigger in somebody, right? And they can show up to your house because they know where you like if they know where you live or they know where they can, find you, or if they're stalking you, they're gonna find you. And boom, I'm so crazy, I want to end it today. I'm gonna kill you and I'm gonna kill myself. How many stories have we heard like that?
I mean, let's be.
So you wouldn't be able to control if you triggered something in me that you knew nothing about, and now I'm so angry, I'm coming to shoot your ass.
I'll be honest with you, Vanessa, right? I'm being 100% honest.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to guess, I'm going to say an amount of people, sexual, intimate people and relationships that me and you both had, I'm going to say I surpass you by a lot, right?
Okay.
I'm going to tell you, out of all of those people, I have not got that situation. I have not got that response. What I'm trying to say is that there is a way to go about things, and when you don't do them, I feel like when people feel played with, is when they go crazy, right? I don't play with nobody. Just because we have sex don't mean I play with you. I didn't tell you I love you.
She might feel that.
No.
That's what she's trying to say.
Right.
She's
It's
trying
not
to tell
that you actually
I
did
get
it,
it.
but she might process it that way.
No.
Because you hit, she's taking that as like, I let you inside of me, and now you were the closest person, and I've been holding off for
Yeah,
like
it's not
6
you,
years,
it's
and you were
her.
the one.
But that's the thing. If a girl told me she's been celibate for 8 months, I'm not hitting it.
Don't hit that.
I'm not hitting
I'm
it.
saying maybe she didn't tell you. Maybe she won't tell you.
No,
telling the truth,
every
and that's
girl
why
will
you're
tell
crazy.
you.
The thing with trauma is that you don't know how it's going to manifest in you, right? Like when you go through traumatic experiences, you don't know how that's going to manifest for you until it does, right? So you can say all you want that this is not how you're going to take something that's why it's called snap, right? Like you don't know how a traumatic experience from your past is going to activate something in you right now in the present, right? So this person might have literally been a stable person, but something that happened to them or something that someone did to them
was your action
triggered something, right? But
that's your action.
That might not have been something that you necessarily did on purpose. Like you might have really been like, yo, I crossed off, I crossed my T's, I dotted my I's, I didn't activate the crazy, but that person might not have taken it that way.
No, because
so it's not necessarily you and what you might do,
you gotta
how they
You also have to remember, I'm sorry to cut you off. You also have to remember, like we discussed before, you never been a part of like a serious heartbreak.
Like,
it just hasn't been his experience.
Yeah, remember how I told you last time?
Yeah,
Like, you're
because
operating
the
from
thing
like
is,
this,
you gotta
not being
know
scorned
people.
or having a scorned woman like that.
Yeah,
So until you're in that position, you could say like, "Oh, you're not gonna do this."
I think this though, and I'll be 100% honest with you. I've seen crazy my entire life, right? I've seen crazy people. I've seen crazy men. I see people do crazy things, like real crazy things. I know what crazy is, but what I'm trying to tell you is 9 times out of 10, people are only crazy who they feel they can get that crazy off on.
Or they're just crazy.
No, they know like, yo, I could be crazy with you. I could be crazy with you. It's going to go to this far. And guess what? You see every time, if you watch all these shows where people are incrementally crazy. I'm not talking about Snap. Snap is a different thing. That's the last straw that broke the camel's back. There's nothing coming back from that. And there's not that many Snap cases as there are just regular crazy cases. When you see the regular crazy going in increment, it's going up, right? It's something that was either enabled, something that was brushed off, not taken seriously for the first, second, or third time, or something that they did. They lied to that girl. They told them that they loved them. They bombed them to death, and then they just pulled the plug, and now her abandonment issues is kicking in. You lied to that girl. You led her on. You sold her a dream, and you expect her to not be crazy. That's you. I'm not selling no dreams. There's no dreams to be sold here. And I will remind you every day, this is not a dream.
But you can agree that even if you don't ever sell that dream, there's still like a possibility,
yes.
that person can.
But the odds are not. The possibility, anything is possible. But I could tell you, like, if I take all my friends and I'm like, yo, we're gonna add up all the women that we've had an experience in our lives. We all told each other the crazy stories that happened with different women. Some of them had crazy women, some of them didn't. One of my homies had a crazy girl that went to the extent of calling the police. She went into his dorm. This is a real story. She went to his dorm, called the police when he got there, and said he hit her, and he never did nothing. Right? They had to run a whole investigation, and then just to find out that she was lying.
That's a form of abuse.
But guess what he did? He wanted to call himself Prince Charming. He wanted to charm her every day. He wanted to love bomb her and pull the plug on her. Nobody deals well with that fall. And I feel like most of the times we gotta take responsibility in the crazy that we tend to activate. I'm not activating it. I could look at some people and be like, yo, she crazy. Now, is it a crazy that I kind of like? A little bit. Now, is it a crazy that I'm gonna trigger? Yes. Okay, I gotta stay away from it. My friends, all my homies said, don't touch it. She's crazy. And I'm like, I know, I'm trying not to. Right? But I did anyway. And her craziness came. But we had to put out that fire.
All the way.
Yeah, but like,
it's not just
all the way, but it ain't all the way because somehow this person ends up being,
intertwined.
Fucking somewhere. And I'm like, why is she always around? Like, she needs to go. Like, get her out of here. But you can't stop that though.
So what about the other aspects, right? Like I think stalking is just kind of like one aspect of what post-separation abuse can be, right? Like there's different ways to be abusive to someone that doesn't necessarily fall in the category of like stalking, especially if we're talking about like people who are in the middle of a divorce, they're sharing children, right? Like if somebody is trying to be abusive to their spouse, right? What happens? They put those kids in the middle and they start to use them as pawns, right? You start to do that parental alienation thing where, you're telling your kids this, you're pitting your kids against the other parent, right? Like you're doing things like that, which is wreaking havoc in someone's life. Like that is like mental and emotional abuse, right? Because now not only do I have to deal with like the issue of of a divorce or like just, separating from somebody. Now I have to deal with this issue with my kids,
Yeah,
right?
now I'm
like
fighting for my kids.
Right now I have to fight for my kids and I have to rewire my kids and I have to hope it works. So now you're imposing that trauma on not only me, but now the children that are in the picture, right? And if anybody's a parent, you have to think about how hard that is to watch like your own child turn against you because of what somebody's trying to do to get to you, right? They can't get to you directly, so they have to use these little tactics. Like that right there can ruin anybody's life, right? You develop all types of mental health issues, right? So now you're developing depression, you're developing anxiety, you're looking at, developing PTSD. And these are things that literally change you. Like I said, trauma quite literally changes your DNA, your personality, shrinks your brain. Like you literally become a different person because of what someone is doing to you.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, and I've seen a lot of people have this situation. People in my circle of friends growing up, and now I'm in a position. And if there's something that would be able to get to me, the only thing in life that would be able to get to me would only be something that would put a dent in a relationship with me and my children, right? That's the only way somebody can get to me. And you know what's sick? I'm gonna be honest with you. I always, and this is crazy because growing up, I would see how women would use kids as pawns and turn them against their fathers. And I would see the effect that it had on their fathers because we be driving and he's going through it and he breaking down in my passenger seat, or, you know what I'm saying? And they just think like, oh, he's a deadbeat. No, like she's really a manipulative woman who's using these children against him. And I remember I told him, and this is the craziest thing, because he came back and said to me after I had my daughter, and I said, you love your children too much. He was like, what? I was like, you love your children too much because if she can use your children against you to destroy you like this, you have too much love in them. And he was like, that makes sense, but it sounds crazy. I didn't have kids at the time, right? So now as I have my child, and I'm like, when I started loving my daughter too much, I said to myself, damn, I'm loving my kids too much. Because this is now the only thing in my life that can destroy or, break me down as a person.
And that's typically the avenues that abusers take, right? Like they know, like if they know you and you guys have had, a relationship, they know you. They know what your triggers are. They know what buttons to push. They know what's important to you, right? And those are generally the avenues that they're going to take. What is the most important thing to him? If it's his family, I'm going to get at him through his family, right? I'm going to try every little thing I can to affect you through your family because I know I can't get to you directly because you've separated yourself from me, but I'm going to use every little thing that I know is important to you as a weapon against you.
Correct.
Do you feel like, and I do, but I'm asking you three, do you feel like women and men play the game differently? And if so, how so?
Absolutely. I feel like women more, not all, excuse me. I feel like more women have the ability of using the child as a pawn, especially women who are the custodial parent. And I feel that men's only avenue is to go through the legal system.
But men never do that.
And not never.
Well, I won't say never, but I know
Hold on now.
a lot of men are like afraid and like opt out of like going through the court thing because they feel like they're never going to win, right? So that's generally what I've heard from men. Like, I'm not even going to bother with that because they feel like courts automatically favor women. So they just feel like they don't even want to put themselves in a position to do that. So I know a lot of men say like that's the reason why they don't like.
It's also a very long downhill battle, and
Downhill battle.
You're basically fighting to get downhill or uphill.
Uphill means
Whatever's
positive, downhill means bad.
So I'm saying downhill as
It's negative.
negative, yeah.
Yeah. It's
So
a downhill battle.
Uphill battles are hard though because
okay,
you're
yeah,
fighting.
Or is it just one word to use?
Yeah, but what he's trying to say is that even once you win, get to the
Going
top and the
downhill.
uphill is still not a win.
because
So that's why he's saying downhill. Like, but I
It's
go
easy
down.
to go down.
Yeah, but down could be worse because you are going
use a
down
struggle.
financially.
we'll use the word
It's a struggle.
It's a struggle.
It is a
Alright.
Use the word struggle.
I got what you meant though.
Yeah, it becomes a struggle financially, emotionally, mentally, physically, because you still, I mean, even though women have the child at home and have the child more time than the men, it still affects men as well. And it also changes how they feel about the whole situation as a whole, because it's almost like a man will feel powerless. So I understand what you're saying, how men give up, because it's honestly not the easiest thing to do. It's actually the hardest thing to do. But if you really fought all you can fight and you don't feel like you're getting anywhere, that's what happens.
But it's going to be hard, regardless of how the cookie crumbles. You just have to choose your heart, right? So if you don't go through the legal process and she does, and now she has the favor legally, you're still going to struggle on that end too. So if it's going to be hard either way, go fight for your children.
Well, you got to understand that men are operating from a sense of hope at that point, right? Now men are just getting to the hope. Well, you know what? I just hope my child's going to get old enough and see the truth and ask for the truth. They're going to eventually get a cell phone. They're going to eventually be able to get in contact with me, and I'll be able to speak to my child. This can't last forever.
But that's an abusive thing that women can do to men, and that happens.
Yeah, no, we're not saying that.
And men to women.
Yeah.
So,
And men to women too, right?
Well, it doesn't have to be cheating, but I feel like you have to do something really bad.
Egregious, right?
Like you have to
Doesn't have to be.
hurt them in the worst way possible for them to feel like they need to get back at you, like they need to get some kind of revenge and they need to ruin you.
That's men with money. So like they got to understand, like, when a man has the financial power to put you in a position to not have to work, especially in 2024, where literally $100 bill is the new $10.